Mm. Hi there, it's Craig here. It's not quite done yet. This needs another week, but I'm just trying it, and it's actually very good. It's a Cooper's English Bitter. Very nice beer. I did a review on it in one of my other videos if you want to look for that. But today we're going to brew this Cooper's Dark Ale. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of a spin on this today because it's getting a little bit redundant just making beer all the time the same old way. I don't want this to get boring, so what I'm going to do today is focus on a topic that very frequently gets asked of me, and that is, how do you increase the alcohol content of your beer? You know, the most obvious answer to that is dump in more sugar. Okay, and I've done that. Been there, done that, and what happens when you do that is you lose your head retention. Okay, so you end up with something that looks like this. Even when it's completely carbonated and finished, it's just going to look like that. Okay, when you pour a bottle of champagne into a glass, it's carbonated. Initially you get a bit of a foam on top, but very quickly that foam dissipates and it's just, you know, it looks flat. That's because champagne has a very high alcohol content, and it's a very thin-bodied substance. It doesn't hold. Beer, on the other hand, ideally should have a thicker consistency, a body to it, which will hold the head retention together longer. Now, when you dump in more sugar to increase the alcohol, you basically thin out the solution, because alcohol is thinner than water. It's a very thin solution. And so, you know, if you have too much alcohol in your beer, you're going to lose your body, you're going to lose your head. So if you want to increase your alcohol, there are some things that you can do in addition, excuse me, in addition to dumping in more sugar. You could always dump in something that's fermentable, another type of sugar, such as honey, corn syrup, maple syrup like we did the other day, and or this high malt glucose that I have here. You know, you might be able to get a hold of this, I don't know, but I can get it, so it's what I'm going to use. And what that's going to do is it's going to add to the sugar content. It's also going to add to the body of the beer because it is so thick. Okay, that's why this stuff, I've said it before, it does increase your head retention. Okay, the other thing you could do is just use 2 cans of malt extract instead of only 1, and then use the same amount of sugar that you normally use. That will give you more fermentable sugars from here with 2 of these, and you'll get more body and everything else, so you'll get more alcohol as well. The other thing that you can do is use less water. Okay, and by doing that, you're changing the alcohol by volume. You're increasing the alcohol by volume, right? So, you know, you add less water, you got less beer there, so in effect, you get a stronger beer. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to add the extra fermentable, you know, the really thick glucosey stuff, and I'm also going to reduce the amount of water. I'm going to do it at 5 US gallons instead of 5 imperial gallons. That puts it at about 19 milliliters instead of 23 milliliters, which I normally do it at. US gallons are bigger than imperial gallons. So 5 gallons that I normally do is 6.5 gallons US. Okay, and that's why I was a little concerned about these kegs I got, because they do hold 5 gallons. They just hold 5 American US gallons. They will not hold 5 imperial gallons. So I have an ulterior motive here. I think I may keg this beer. So because I want to be able to fit all the beer into the keg, I'm going to reduce it to 19 milliliters, which is 5 US gallons. So not only am I going to get more alcohol, which is pretty cool, but I'm also going to get a slightly nicer beer because it's going to be more condensed, and I'm going to be able to fit it into my keg. Okay, so that is what we're doing. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Okay, so we're back. Now here we are. I've got everything all sanitized. Very, very important. I've got my fermenter, my lid, spoon. Let's just take this stuff out of here. Okay, so that's that. Check our spigot. All right. So check, make sure that's on. Okay, good. And then I've got my my malt extract. Oh, and I'm just gonna fire up my kettle. It's already boiled, but I just want to make sure that it's all the way. So malt extract and my glucose. Again, whatever you can get your hands on other than corn sugar that's a thick syrupy thing that's fermentable is a good thing. First thing, actually, what I'm going to do is just throw in my corn sugar. This is 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of corn sugar. All right, and then we'll do our can. Can't wait to smell this. Okay. Wow. This is dark stuff. I probably could have heated this up more. I don't know. It was in there for 20 minutes in the hot water. Okay, now we're going to grab our high malt glucose. Now this stuff is really very thick. Well, actually, you know what? Now I'm sorry, I lied. Well, I didn't lie. It's been so long since I've used it. It's actually not as thick as I thought. Or maybe it used to be thicker when I used to use it before. I'm not going to pour boiling water into this plastic container because I don't want to die of, pathogen cancer or whatever. We've got most of it out of there. That's good. Okay, so there we are. And now I'm just going to pour some boiling water into this to get the rest of that stuff out of there. Beautiful. And grab myself a towel here. Just give that a good mix. All right, I think we're good. And then what we'll do is grab this and pour it down the lid. Now that lid is looking like it's ready to fall off, and I really hope it doesn't, because if it does, I'm going to be in trouble. There. Perfect. Clean. Awesome. Just put that there. This stuff, it gets all over you. Okay, there we go. Let me just. Wow, I'm having trouble today. This is strange. I've got it all over me here. What the hell? Can't take me anywhere. Okay, I'm going to move this back there. I'm going to move my camera, and then we're going to finish this off with 5 U.S. gallons instead of 5 imperial gallons. It's going to come up to it's going to come up to about there. So that's here. I don't want to touch that. It's about there. Normally I would fill it up to this ring, so that's going to be considerably less. Okay, but that's what we're going to do. See you in a bit. Okay, here we are. I've got everything ready to go. First thing I'm going to do, I'm sorry I don't have my other camera running here, but I'm going to put a little bit of hot water in here. I sanitized this hose, this green hose, as I don't know if you saw that part, but I don't know if I recorded that or not, but I do sanitize the insides of it, and it's not adding any flavor to this. I've checked. It doesn't have an aroma. It's very old. It's really, you know, but I don't really recommend you go out to the hardware store and get a piece of hose and use it to fill your thing, because a lot of that plastic stuff does add odors, and I drank out of the garden hose last summer, and oh boy, it tasted pretty bad. But that one doesn't add anything to it. So you do this however way you can do it. Luckily, I've got this thing I can do it with. So now I've got hot water and boiling water here. I'm going to give this a good stir to get everything off the bottom. We're working here in a little cramped quarters. I've got my other brew going here. This is the maple syrup one. Blow-off tube had to be happening there because it was going like crazy. So that's good. I'm going to give this a good stir. Probably going to edit most of the stirring out. But I would say I usually stir this for about probably a couple minutes, just to make sure everything's dissolved. This is going to be a really interesting project because it's a very dark beer. I'm only going to fill it to about there instead of there when I normally fill it. So yeah, it's going to be a big beer, that's for sure. Whoa. Okay, there. I always say stir it until your arm is sore. You've stirred it enough. Now we're going to add the cold water. Something that just occurred to me is that I hope I can get the temperature down, because I'm not adding as much cold water as I normally would. We'll see what happens. I'm going to wash off the sides here. There they are. Just going to grab a torch here. Going to shine it into the... Okay. I think we need a little more. I think we do. It's very hard to tell because of the foam. But yeah, we need a little bit more than that. Temperature-wise, let you guys see this too. So it's 70, 68, 66, 64. Wow, it's actually cooler than I thought it would be. So, okay, what we're going to have to do here is I'm going to add hot water to it, because I don't think that's... I think that's a little cool. I know some people like to ferment at low temperatures, but this is not a lager, and that's a little bit cold for me. So we're going to crank up the hot and dump that in there for a bit. That a good stir. And by the looks of it, I'm at about the 20, probably a little higher, but that's all right. That's fine. Let's do a final temperature reading here. And I want to do an SG reading as well. 73. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. All right. Just going to take some time to read this here. We have, it looks like we've got about 1.052. That means we're going to have, let me figure this out. You know what? I'll do the calculations after this. I can't do it right now. It's probably going to be about 6% alcohol. But I'll do the calculations. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. That's a nice strong brew. Let's get the... Oops. Let's get the... I forgot the yeast. totally out of my element right now, doing something different for the first time. You're seeing me stumble and stammer around doing something that I don't normally do. That's fine. I don't care. Get this thing on the road here. Right. Stir that in. And a little bit of yeast nutrient. Usually put about a half teaspoonful of that in there. It's good stuff. It really helps. This thing was blowing all over the place 12 hours after I put it down, so the yeast nutrient does do good things. There we are. Yeast is added. The nutrients. You don't have to use yeast nutrient if you don't have it, but I think it's great if you can get it. Whoops, sorry, Snoopy. Move that back there. Go around, make sure it's all clipped on. Airlock. As I said before, take the stuff, if you're using this, multi-part airlock, take the stuff out, well, when you put it on, so you don't create a weird kind of a vacuum inside the fermenter that will make weird things happen when you put your water in. And there we go. We're going to check our seal. Perfect. There. So, thanks a lot for watching. I'll do a taste test video on this one when it's ready, about 3 weeks from now. Probably be doing a kegging thing, so I guess I'll make a video of that. That'll be interesting, considering I've never done that before, so there'll be a lot of bloopers in that video. But anyways, all right, this is long enough. Thanks for watching. Take care. Rate, subscribe, click, whatever you can do, please do it. Thanks. Take care, guys. See ya. Now, I hate when that happens. I do have a spoon here that I'm just going to carefully grab that with. There we go. Oh yeah. Wow. Oh. Mercy, have mercy. That's starting to piss me off. We're just going to wait for a second here. I'm just going to get that lid off again. Oh, it's going to fall right into the thing. This is the most trouble I've ever had. Wow. Give that a stir. Whoop! Whoa! Let's clean that up.